Welcome to the next session. In this session, we will be talking about the conditional statement. Conditional statement includes if statement and if else and looping statements. As you can see in this slide, if, just like the other language, if followed by the condition and there is a colon followed by an indentation and the statement. Else if is replaced with el if, el and if, followed by a condition, followed by a colon, then in the next line indentation and the statement. And again else, followed by a colon and the statements. So that is the simple syntax of if statement. If followed by a condition, then if or else if, that should be followed by a condition again, then else. Anyway, we know the sequence how it executes. We all practiced in the previous language. If statement is true, that statement gets executed. Otherwise, it will come to the else part. Otherwise, it will the else if part. Otherwise, it will come to the else part. That is the default one. If none of the statements conditions are true, then it comes to the else part and that statement gets executed. Here we should know something in Python. In looping statement, in if statement, there is no flower brackets being used. No brackets, but those are replaced with indentations. The statement ends with the colon. Next line, there has to be an indentation. All the statement which belongs to the statement, that is if or a for, should be within that indentation. And when you come out of that indentation, it means that you are coming out of the if statement or a for statement. So that's about if and else. Next is loop, as a while loop. Syntax remains the same as usual. While followed by a condition and statements. Note the presence of colon at the end of the line which is having while. Then an indentation. This is the simple syntax of while loop. Let us go to the for loop. Little bit different. While and do while remains the same, well as when it comes to for loop, there is a small difference in the syntax. We have these statements: break, continue, and the new thing here is a pass. Break, as you know, it stops the loop and comes out of the loop. Continue keeps the next statements inside that loop and it goes back to the beginning of the loop and goes with the next iteration. Pass, it does nothing. That's what is the meaning. Then we have a statement here as else. The optional else clause runs only if the loop exists normally, not if there is a break statement. So you can see in the output, while x is less than 3, print x and x is equal to x plus 1. So what happens? 1, 2 and are printed, then the condition becomes false. It goes to the else case gets executed and it comes out. The statement comes out. Maybe in our experiment we will see how this else is practically being useful. We just need to understand the loop, because again this becomes important in machine learning. We need to iterate through the set of data items to any of the loop has to be used. So if you are traversing simply through the numbers, then we recommend you to use the while loop. When it comes to for loop, look at the syntax of for loop. There is a difference here. You can see for x in, you can see that for x in this statement, you can see for x in 1, 7, 13, 2, print x. That means 1, 7, 13, 2 are getting printed. So what happens? X gets assigned to 1, x gets assigned to 7, x gets assigned to 13, and then to 2, and then these values gets printed. So that is what we observe in this statement, in this program. The other next one you can see, for x in range 5. So this is the range variable that we have seen in our previous video. Range 5 stands for 0 to 5. It's a class. Range 5 is an input to x with the values from 0 to 5. That means x gets assigned with 0, x with 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4. It stops at 4, not 5. So that is the use of range. So this is how the for loop is different than the for loop what we used in C, C++, Java. Syntax goes like this: for x in. For x in is something common. After that, we need to specify the set of values on which the variable has to iterate. That x gets assigned to which of the values that has to be mentioned either as absolute numbers or as range, what we have seen in this. So that is the difference when we use the for loop compared to other languages. Now let us get back to the programming. Stop sharing the slides. Go to our terminal and let us do a bit of coding. Let me quit from my previous window. Quit from here, and then I'll type a code. Let me use my gedit. Okay, here goes my gedit. Let us look at looping structure. Let us look at a simple code using the while loop. As I said, while is the, we say, simplest one. Okay. Let me have a while loop with a break statement. So here goes my while loop with a break statement. I'm printing while I less than 6, print I, if I is equal to 3, it will break, and then I is equal to I plus 1. You can note the indentation. After this statement, after the while statement, there's a colon, then there is a space. Before print, there is a space. Before if, there is a space. There are two spaces before break. That means break is inside if, which is inside while. That is what the significance of these two spaces. Whereas in front of I is equal to I plus 1, there is only one space to say that this statement is inside the while loop, not inside if statement. Okay, so this is my simple code of running the while loop. Let us just execute this. Stop sharing the screen and let us share our command window. Okay, here goes my command window, and close the gedit, and let me compile that with Python 3. File name is sample.py. That is getting executed. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 is the value what is getting printed because there was a break statement. Because there was a break statement, only the three statements are the one that is getting executed. That is a simple use of while loop with a break statement. Now let us go for the next one. Obviously, there's a for loop. For loop, as we have seen, there has to be a set of values, values which we need to iterate. So let us try to print the value of a list. Okay, the previous one what we have created is a list. Let us try to print the value of that. So for that again I'll use a gedit. Okay. I will replace my previous code with a new code. You can see that I'm assigning fruits, which is a list, apple, banana, and cherry for x in fruits. Now this is the set of value. Fruits is the set of value, and I'm just trying to print the value of x. Okay. Let us look at another value in the same program with the range function. With the range function, let me say for x in range 6, and let us try to print that. Two for loops now. For x in range 6 and print x. Now that I'm using the same variable, of course, doesn't make a difference in this example. So that's what I'm using a range function. Let us take few more examples. The same program. A range along with steps. A range along with steps. For x in range 2 to 30 in steps of 3. Increment sequence in steps of 3. Okay. In range, always we can specify a starting and an ending. If you don't specify the starting, default it will take 0. If you don't specify, it will take 0. Like in this example, it is from 0 to 5. 6 numbers from 0 to 5. The second option I am showing you is there is a starting and there is an ending in steps of 3. This is always possible. We can have a starting, we can have an ending, and we can have the steps, in what steps they need to be incremented. Let me save this and I'll try to execute. So let's share the screen of my command window. Okay. I will try to execute the same sample.py. Okay, you can see that values. Of course, it's all numbers. The first for loop. Let me go. Sorry. And okay. Let us look at the output now. Let me execute the code again. Okay, look at the code. The 3 statements are getting printed. That is my first for loop, which iterates through the list and the values are getting printed. Then the second for loop where we have specified the range. That is range of 6. So 0 to 5, 6 numbers are getting printed. In the next one, we had specified 2 to 30 2 to 30 in the step of 3. 2 to 30 in step of 3. So it starts from 2, then 5, then 8, 11, 14. Increment is in step of 3. So that is the different ways of using for loop with the range function. Range has three options. One is specifying just a number which says 0 to that number n. Then I can say m and n, that is increment of 1 by default from m to n. We can say m, n and a value p. Say that from m to n with each step of p increment. So that is the for loop in Python. So with this, we have studied if statement, else statement, while loop, and for loop, how they are being used in Python. Looping statements, again, I'm stressing on this fact that they become important in data science because we have to iterate to a good set of numbers in our working examples. Okay, thank you for watching. Further, we will discuss in the next session.